So Andrew, following up there, I imagine that actually crossing the X state would incur an even greater economic cost than, say, lowering of American creditworthiness. So what would that look like?
You're right, and fortunately, we haven't actually ever needed to test that out and see what would happen. But yes, it would potentially be catastrophic. So, if Congress fails to raise or suspend the debt limit before the X date, an immediate cash flow shortage would force the government to miss or delay critical payments. And these can include programs that touch nearly every American, from Social Security to Medicare and Medicaid, to things like military pay, veterans benefits. And not surprisingly, in addition to missing out on payments that many Americans rely on, confusion over delayed payments and the consequences of defaulting on some of our obligations would cause widespread chaos and would likely prompt a further downgrade of the country's credit rating. So that's sort of one bucket of consequences, are these missed payments. The other one would be an actual default on our debt, where the federal government is unable to pay principal and interest on debt obligations. That could potentially be even worse. An actual debt default would roil the economy, and even a short-term default could lead to higher borrowing costs, liquidity concerns for the private sector, increased unemployment, stock market losses, and GDP contraction. And one of the concerns that many analysts had with this most recent debt limit episode, as we were sort of in the midst of an economic recovery from the COVID-19 induced recession, was that those sorts of consequences could easily derail an economic recovery and push the economy back into recession.